Hi guys, so if you remember in our last video we talked about the term inverse operations, and if you remember, operations refers to what you know as addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and the word inverse is another way to say opposite. And we have already learned about the two inverse operations, addition and subtraction. And today we will be learning about the two other inverse operations, multiplication and division. Now I have an example problem for you. 3 times A equals 15. And this format is what you're probably going to be seeing in your book and on your homework. 3A is another way of saying 3 times A equals 15. So knowing that I'm dealing with multiplication, I can tell you that I'm going to have to do the opposite, which is, of course, division. So the first step is to identify my variable, which, again, is the letter A. And I have my 3 that's on the same side as the letter A, so I know I'm going to have to divide both sides by 3. Because when I do to one side of the equation, I do to the other. So I'm going to do my little T-bone steak, as we like to call it, and just to keep my information organized. And these two 3's are actually going to cancel each other out, just as they did in the addition problem and in the subtraction problem. So I can just go ahead and bring down my A, and now all I have to do is solve 15 divided by 3, which, if we know our times tables, A equals 5. So what I've just learned using inverse operations is that the A in this equation or problem represents or equals the letter 5. Okay guys, so for our last example, we're going to be looking at an example of a division problem. So this might look like a fraction, but a fraction is actually the same as saying d divided by 6 equals 10. So my first step, obviously, is to identify my variable, which I know is the letter D. And I can tell you that the number 6 is the number that we'll be dealing with since it's on the same side as the D in this problem. So, using my knowledge of inverse operations, I know that the opposite of division is multiplication. So I need to multiply both sides by the number 6. And once again, remember that these two 6's are going to cancel each other out. And I can bring down my D and solve the problem 10 times 6. And 10 times 6, I know, is 60, either by knowing my multiplication tables or using my calculator. So now I know, through using inverse operations, that the D in this equation represents the number 60. Thanks, guys, and that's all for single-step equations. See you next time.